Hi, this is Brad Argent from Ancestry. Today I want to talk about DNA testing and specifically who to test. Now I know that it's really exciting to get out there and get that DNA test and you want to take it yourself, and that's perfectly understandable. But just pause for a minute and think about who's the best person to test. Really, who should I test right now? When we do normal family history, standard family history, one of the things, the first piece of advice we give people is to go and talk to the oldest person in the family, and to do it today because they might not be there tomorrow when you've got the questions to ask. And that's still a very, very valid thing to do. And the same applies to DNA. Take their DNA while you can. Get it now, because when they go, their DNA goes with them. Now, the things to remember about doing that is you've got to be able to get their consent. First, they have to be able to consent and understand what they're doing. It's got to be an informed consent. And they also have to be able to generate the saliva that's required to do the test. Now, I've done a little video on how to get the best results out of a spit test, but think about whether or not they'll actually be able to do it. But if you can, get that DNA, because as science improves, as technology improves, we'll be able to draw more and more information from their DNA that will help you unravel that mystery of who you are and where you've come from. And then think about testing your parents. Now, the oldest person in the family might be your parents, or indeed it might actually be you. So think a little bit wider. If you can't test your parents, do they have brothers or sisters? Do you have aunts and uncles still alive? See if you can get them to give you a sample. Now, the reason I say to do that is because you'll get a whole heap of cousin matches, right? And, they're wonderful for knitting back together those often fractured family trees. But what you want to know is which side of the family does that cousin come from? Is it from mum's side or dad's side? If you test a parent, what you can do then is look at the shared matches that you've got with that remote cousin. Do they share a match with your mother that you might have tested? If they do, then they come from mum's side of the family. If they don't, then by default they come from dad's side of the family. So test a parent, ideally test both, because then you can be absolutely sure which side they came from. But if you can't test a parent, test an aunt or an uncle, and that might help you break down the mystery of who some of those cousins are. And then, of course, test yourself, test your siblings if you can, because you've got to remember your results are unique to you. Your ethnicity results are your results. They won't be your brother's or your sister's results. They'll be your results. You could be more Scandinavian than them. You could be more Italian or Greek than they are. So, your results are yours. They're not theirs. So when you go bragging about your results, you have to tell them that they're your results and they're not their results. But the further you cast your net, the wider you cast your net, the more cousins that you test, the better able you will be to understand some of those matches you've got and where some of those ethnicities came from. Thanks for your time.